Everyone's like, oh, look, here comes Pensy Joe bringing the Pennsylvania stuff because really test LED in the headlight, but we'll take this quite well by all. Regular combination, she's all that Sheet at 10. Proceed to 15.
Hey everybody, this is Pensy Joe back again for another Train Talks, and today we are finally doing the 2023 Pennsylvania Railroad fleet update with the locomotives. As you can see right now, I have a Walthers GP9 pulling a boxcar train around the layout, the track cleaning car, and a N5 caboose. And as you can see, we have grown and shrunk a bit. Some of these are project engines in the works. Some of these are already done. And I would say, in my opinion, a good portion of them have been already done. But I still got a ways to go. I still got more to work on, and I'll get into more details once we get there. So without further ado, we'll start from the bottom right and work our way over to the left side. Alrighty, so now we're starting from the bottom right side. I got two P5A box cabs from Broadway Limited. They were only made in the Paragon 3 run, I think 2 runs. They're still around. I want to get 2 more of these personally. I really love these things, and I'd love to upgrade them with TCS WOW with diesel. However, I'm going to mute the diesel prime mover. And since these were pretty much silent, just like the GG ones in real life, it doesn't matter if there's road sound going on, because they're pretty much silent, just like in real life. So it'll be cool to have more box cabs in the future. I would like to get 2 more, maybe 3. They would be great for regular service on the upper level once the layout's complete. If I want to run electrics and do all sorts of stuff, especially in the Pennsylvania area and whatnot, to pull freight trains or do some small passenger commuter trains with the GG ones, but they'll most likely be like the full kind of freight scheme, as you can see right here. Probably more of the freight scheme ones with just the full GGLE kind of color pulling freight trains. Next up, we have 2 H10s. These are also by Broadway. They both have TCS WOW equipped, so they're already done. I would like to get 2 more. I know there's another H10 that's with the Line West tender. That is 8421, I believe. That's the number of the locomotive. And I'd like to get 1 Lines East if I can. I'm not sure when I'll get with them. I keep seeing them, especially for good deals from time to time. But I'm just holding off because I already have a project coming up later on that I've already pre-ordered for next year. So there's just pre-orders coming next year, guys. I'm starting to just hunker down and not really do anything. I'm pretty much just not doing anything. And next year, I also want to start getting wood and power tools for making the benchwork for the layout. At some point, I will also need to do track. I'm going to be doing the lower level first, of course. That's going to be my first thing to do, is to start from the lower level and then work my way up. So eventually, at some point, everything is going to change down here in the basement. The loop of track that you see will probably not be here anymore. It will definitely be changed. There will be more building kits probably coming along as well. I want to definitely get the building kits for the lower level, all the building kits for the lower level, so that once I get the track and wiring done, because I'll have to buy the track for the lower level first, and then when I get to the second level, I'll be able to do that, and then I'll be able to do scenery, because that's how pretty much I'm going to do it, is do the lower level first. I'll do this, the upper level next, and then do the helix with the lower level as kind of like an in-between kind of thing. But yeah, I love to get more steam engines and stuff, but as time goes on, there will always still be more engines going on for sale. So, and unless Broadway decides to make the H10 again, we'll definitely be looking out if that does happen, if it ever does happen. So yeah, I'd like to get more of these. They're already done with TCS WOW. I love them. I think they're really great little locomotives. And it's interesting. If you've seen my TCS WoW installed, their motors look a lot similar to the Paragon 3 J1s, which is very interesting in my opinion, but it is what it is. I've seen it on the L1 as well. The next locomotive we got is an E6. It's got the longer top roof, but it's actually around the same length as the H10. Interesting enough. But yeah, the E6 Atlantic. This is in particular the Lindbergh engine, number 460. It also has TCS WoW equipped, so that one's done. Would I like to get more E6s? Maybe one or two more. At most, probably one. If I want more E6s. I'm happy with just one if I even just stick with the one I have right here. So it's not really a huge big deal. So yeah. Next we have is a Bachmann K4. This is a black box that had originally Tsunami Sound. This is the pre-war one. It's actually in a DGLE kind of color green. Which is strange that this is the only one that's actually rather accurate. This is probably the one I'm going to modify with the brown or oxide roof color, and I don't know, the more brownish oxide roof on the cab, and I would like to do the oxide red on the tender roof for this K4. It has like the fancy like coloring from the 1920s, so. I know you can't really see it well, but it is that locomotive. It's on the tender as well, and the tender's a little bit warped on the left side, but that's okay. It's not a huge big deal. It already has TCS WoW in it. Will I modify it? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. If Broadway does come out with another run of K4s, and if they ever do, and they do one with the 1920s paint scheme similar to the Lindbergh engine, the E6, I'd probably sell this one off and buy that one. Mainly because it's got a die-cast boiler, more weight, therefore more power. And the Broadway engines are really, really nicely detailed. I know for a fact that the pre-war versions are not 100% accurate, and K4s are very different as they go on. There's so many different K4s that were like variations and whatnot, so you kind of have to figure out like if they're amalgamation of different like versions or if they're like specific versions. So yeah, that's definitely one to look out further on. It's a keeper for now. And in the back right here we have my first K4, number 1361. I've had this one for years. It's one of my first first Pennsylvania locomotives. And it's a great puller. Problem is it has been replaced by my Broadway 1361 right up front. This is my keeper, the Broadway 1361. I love it. I like the slight weathering it has on the side. It's like got this. It's kind of hard to tell that it's got slight weathering, but it's okay. I like it the way it is. It looks like it's been used. We gotta try and focus this again. I don't know why it's not focusing. But, yeah, sorry about that. So, I'll probably sell it off, unfortunately. I don't have a reason for it anymore. Or I could probably do some, like, you know, maybe custom K4 or something like that if I want to. Same thing with the 1920s paint scheme K4 that I have. That's pre-war. I don't know. It's a question. I might sell it. I might keep it for some reason. Maybe as a display locomotive somewhere, as a memorial. It's like a museum locomotive or whatever. And the other one's in service. But we'll figure that out. Next one, I have a L1S. I like to get two more of these. It's a shame. L1s are rather underrated. They share the same firebox as the K4, interesting enough. But it's strange, if you look at them from the top, the Broadway K4s is more pinched at the top than the L1s. I don't know if it's like the casing they put around them, but yeah, there was like around 1,000 fireboxes. And a fun fact about the fireboxes for the Pennsylvania, they were designed to be easily replaceable, like detachable from the boiler, so they could be easily replaced. Which is something I figured out while they're restoring 1361 at the Museum of Pennsylvania in Altoona. So that's a cool little fun fact. That's how you know there's like around 1,000 that were made, but they don't exist anymore. So yeah, the L1, I'd like to get more L1s. This one currently has TC as well as Broadway 1361 also has TC as well in it. It has a firebox flicker. The L1 does not have the firebox flicker. Some locomotives do not have the hole under the cab to really allow like a firebox flicker to flash down, and some of them just don't have the space. It really just comes down to certain locomotives that are good for it and some are not. Next up, a good example of that is the I-1SA with the short tender. I have 3 of these, and we'll get to the other 2 soon, but this is a short tender. I would like to get 1 or 2 more, maybe 1. 3 of them is a lot, but when you do have a lot of coal, when you have a coal business on the road, it's not a bad idea to run I-1s for coal, for drag freight and whatnot. They are not going to be used for high-speed service. These are most likely going to be from the coal mine going directly to Pennsylvania and not maybe to the Tri-Cities of Tennessee, in the Tennessee area. But that's the thing, you can run whatever you want on this railroad. A lot of locomotives were used in all sorts of ways. And next is one of my, this was used to want to be one of my most frustrating locomotives. This is like one of the locomotives that just died on a regular oval because of not really shorting. It wasn't even shorting. It was just it had bad pickup, or just the Paragon 3 decoders. I'm just letting you guys know. I've said this many times in previous videos. Paragon 3 decoders are not great at all. They can accept higher amperage from whatever motors that they used, but you definitely want to, if you have like a from the factory, like never serviced or motor replaced Paragon 3 locomotive, replace that motor right away, because if you try to put another decoder in them, your decoders are going to get hot and they might fry. So yeah, this one has been upgraded. It's got TC as well. It has firebox flicker and all that fun stuff. And it's a great puller. Definitely a great locomotive. It's got die-cast shell, die-cast tender, so it can pull really well. It's a pretty fast locomotive as well. It's definitely a quick one. So it's become one of my more favorite ones. It's a really reliable runner from my experience. It took a bit to get where it is, but yeah, I got the bronze scheme one. It was definitely one of my first steam engines that were just a different color than the normal DGLE. And I prefer the bronze over the DGLE Streamline K4. Definitely a nice one. It's probably most likely not going to be redone by Broadway. If there was one Streamline, if they were going to do another Streamline engine, and I know they have a sample tooling of it, I would like for them to do the later 1940s Streamline, because the Bachmann Streamlined one is not the greatest puller. It probably needs more weight, but I'll have to see if that can fit more weight. But I can tell you this, it's not a strong puller compared to the older K4s that came out in the 2010, the 2010s and whatnot. So yeah, if Broadway does another Streamline K4 and it's the 1940s one, I'll probably buy 2 of those and sell my Bachmann one off. It's a shame because the Bachmann one's fine. It's not the most accurate one in terms of proportions, I guess. I don't know. I guess maybe actually, yeah, because if you look at it looks kind of wide. the deck plate, the side railing decks. So yeah, but it's a fine engine. It's just it can't pull, which sucks. That's why I was hesitated. I mean, I wanted to review or get one of those new Bachmann K4s, but I was like, I don't know. It's just one of those engines. Over here we have 2 I-1 SA decapods with modified tenders. They both have marker lights, and these are both equipped with TC as well as the short tendered I want to say, except it doesn't have any marker lights. Only the long haul, that C2C or coast to coast tenders. They're the only ones that have them. And I blew out their headlights because for some reason, something inside here on the board inside the cab is shortcutting the ground, so that if I do like the resistor and the tender, it doesn't work well. And it's a good thing I figured out when I did the short tender, otherwise I would have 3 locomotives without headlights. So I have to figure out to replace these headlights and go back inside the boilers and locomotives and do the headlight again and put the resistor inside the locomotive, so when I have the headlights, they would all work again. So that sucks. So yeah, it is what it is. You figure out things as you go sometimes. Certain locomotives are different than others, guys. Keep that in mind. It is what it is. Up next is a couple of my favorite locomotives in the fleet, and they're really nice runners. These are my Blue Line M1Bs. I got one that's in the Museum of Strasbourg in Pennsylvania. 67, I think 75. And then the other one, I forgot the number. But I have 2 M1s. I'm good with 2 M1s. They're going to be good for mixed traffic. And that's pretty much it. Do I want more M1s? I'm happy with the 2 I have. I don't think I want any more M1s. Not because I don't like them. I really like the M1s. I think they're really good mountain locomotives. They're really nice locomotives. It's just, if I find one for a really good deal, I'll get one. But I think I'm good with the 2 I have. Up next, I have 2 Paragon 3 J1s. One of them still has a Paragon 3 inside of it, and the other is already with TCS WOW, and it has marker lights equipped to its C2C tender. So yeah, these locomotives are really nice. I think this is it. I'm only going to have 2. I'm not going to really have any more of these because in my fleet, in my alternate universe or fictional universe, headcanon universe for this layout's history, in the history of the Pennsylvania Atlantic Railroad, there was less J1s than Q2s in this universe, so there was going to be more Q2s doing mixed traffic work. Mainly the Q2s are going to be pulling long distance trains, and they can pull mixed manifests and whatnot. So yeah, I got these J1s so they can for fun of double heading them and pulling coal trains, especially going to like distant, different areas. If I don't have the I1s running around, I just have big steam running around, pulling freight trains. Next, I have my T1s. I have both the modified and the portholes, and to be honest, I like the porthole design more. It just looks more complete with the streamline, and I do like them both. I used to have another one. I donated that to my former club back in Florida. They haven't modified theirs yet. Mine already have been. 5520 has been modified, and it has an upgraded motor. It has the 5-pole motor for it. So I got the pretty much the Paragon 4 generation motors that they put in models now. So it runs without shorting anything and whatnot. And it runs really good. This is a really good runner. I have firebox flicker in it, and it is nice. It is a really nice locomotive. I'd like to add marker lights to this locomotive. I can do marker lights on this C2C tender, and I'd like to do them at some point to upgrade it to give it marker lights in the rear. It does have the front marker lights. Only the porthole T1s have the marker lights on them, so that's just something you should all know. And it's got the different hatches on the roof. It's definitely a different design. I hope Broadway does more of these, honestly. I'd like to get more T1s. I'd like to get maybe 2 or 3 more. And obviously, one of them I'd like to have is 5550. The other 2, I'd like to get a Tuscan one, just for shits and giggles, and another porthole. I like them all to be porthole. If the 5550 in real life is actually a porthole pilot, I'm going to get it no matter what. My first TCS WOW equipped Broadway engine was 5511 over here. This one was already done. I got it off of eBay. And 5511 is a nice locomotive. I ran it at the South Florida Fair many times. It's a great solid runner. It ran really well. I'd like to get another Blue Line T1 if I could. Obviously not 5511, and hopefully one that's minimum for right value and with minimal wear. TCS Wout, of course, and what else? I'd like to. Hopefully, it has the spare like traction tires, so I can finally replace 5511s because they're starting to wear out. And I'm pretty sure Broadway does not make the same tires for these anymore, unfortunately. I could always ask, but I doubt it, which is a shame. Or if anybody has any for the Blue Line or earlier, let me know. I'd like to get them. If there's a surplus of them somewhere out there, I'd like to get them because these are starting to wear out, the traction tires on this locomotive. But overall, the T1s are really solid locomotives by Broadway. In terms of design, like the mechanicalness. Unfortunately, Paragon 3s, you will need to replace the motors right away if they haven't been replaced from the factory. If you have it stock from the factory, like if you bought it from like Train Roll or something, like already, I recommend getting rid of that motor because it will die. I know some people are like, well, I ran it, you're lucky, but I don't know. I have not been having luck with any Paragon 3 steam engine besides the L1. Because that L1's motor is different than the T1s, the K4s, you name it. And I do not have a Paragon 3 turbine, so yep. Next up, my famous twin Q2s. I probably oversaturated the internet now with Broadway Paragon 2 Q2s. Both of them are TCS WOW equipped. I only added Firebox Flicker to them, which makes them really cool. I did pre-order 3 Q2s from the Paragon 4 run, so there'll be 3. None of them are the Tuscan one because I already have one that already has the road number. I do not plan on selling these. They are very reliable. They have never had any mechanical issues from them. And they'll probably be used forever to come. If there is a DCC ready PRQ2 out there that's for a really good value, I'll probably buy a 4th one. But I'll let you know what the Q2s are. This is 6187 and 61, I think, 95? Yeah, 6195. And yeah, these are pretty much one of my favorite locomotives. The Q2s were one of my favorite duplex locomotives, and they will be my primary, big freight locomotive. They're pretty much the big boys of my railroad. There'll be multiples of these, maybe 6 in total at the end of the fleet size of the Q2s in the fleet. Maybe, but yeah, they're great. I'm getting 2 more of the production ones. These are production. I'm not getting 6131, the prototype. I'm getting another one that has a different road number, and it has like the keystone with the wing on each side of the shrouding that has the prototype shrouding, the prototype like 6131. So that one I will get. I will get one of those just to say I've got the prototype version. And I'm going to get 2 more production run versions. And we'll see further on when they arrive sometime next year. I believe they're coming in January, February, but we shall see. Next up is my Paragon 4 S2 turbine. This is the only locomotive I have not a reason to TCS WOW yet, because TCS WOW does not have turbine sounds. Shocker, right? So this one's going to stay the way it is. I'm not planning on modifying it. And I find it to be a rather reliable runner, and it runs really well. It sounds really great. It's not obnoxiously like annoying like a jet turbine or anything like that. So yeah, and some people are like, why did you get the Tuscan Red version? Well, I like the big circle keystone in the rear of the tender. You probably can't see it that well because of the I have straight down light from top. Some people are like, well, when are you gonna get the extra lighting? Probably once the layout is getting in shape. Probably once I get the double layers done, I'll start doing, like, once I get the double levels done, and Trackworks pretty much getting around, I'll probably start doing like more lighting so that one, everything looks better, and two, I will be able to do scenery when we get to that point. And that's later on, like later on. So I'm sorry, lighting is not my priorities right now. I know it bugs some people. Just bear with it. If you don't like it, I understand. It is what it is. It's just not my priorities right now, lighting. So it is what it is. All right, next up we got second to last steam engine so far. I mean, I got a good amount of steam. If you already counted how many I have somewhere, I mean I have more, but the rest are just my excursion locomotives. So they're not. I'm not really counting them in the Pennsylvania locomotive fleet. So yeah. Next one we have a Y3, or on the Pennsylvania Road, it was an HH1 class. This is a really unique locomotive, and it's gonna be a fun locomotive. This will be used for coal and switching duties, or heavy switching duties, especially for helping coal trains go into places, especially, after getting out of the coal mine, so they can be delivered at multiple power plants and other industries that need coal for power at their facilities, especially at the Roundhouse and a couple other facilities that will house steam engines. So yeah, it's a nice locomotive. It has Tsunami 2. I do not like Tsunami 2. I understand people will stand by and die for Tsunami 2, but I'm telling you, it's the worst sounding out of every sound for steam engines I've had. TCS WOW, in my opinion, is the best for steam. It's just hands down. In my opinion, it's the most clear, it's the most crisp, it's the most realistic, in my opinion. So at some point in the future, it's not high on my list because I'd rather get my Broadway engines out of the way with TCS WOW because I want them to perform better. Broadway's one of my favorite when it comes to steam because they make all the Pennsy steam. Nobody else makes Pennsy steam really at all, unfortunately. And I know there's other railroads that people would like to be made as well, and I get it, but yeah, so that's pretty much it with steam. We end with this Proto 2000 steam engine. There's one more. We'll get to that once we get into the diesels and some of the electrics, some more electrics. So yeah, this is the end of the part one with the steam engines. Next part will be with the diesels. Alrighty, so welcome to part two of my fleet for the Pennsylvania and Atlantic Railroad with the Pennsylvania side of things. Will I do other trains, like my modern equipment, some of my other modern equipment stuff, and like some of my other trains I'll be servicing the area? I'm not going to be really doing that yet, because then I'll have to put all the Pennsylvania engines away, and at some point I'm going to put these all away. Not tonight. It's in the evening now, so I'll probably do something about my trains. I'll probably do, at some point, my high-speed train collection and some of my other stuff that I have, and just lay them out just for fun. I just don't think it's warranted to do them right now. It's not big enough or anything like that, so some people probably ask, will you do a rolling stock? No. I'm not doing rolling stock ever. There'll be too much rolling stock at some point. I mean, I got a good amount, and I got a good amount of space to do rolling stock. I just don't have enough rolling stock. I want more rolling stock. That's something I need to press on more, but damn it, Broadway's just eating away my money, and I find things for a fair deal, so that's my fault as well. So Sorry, guys. I got a lot of, to be honest with you, I think I think I still have more rolling stock than freight cars, so you guys won't have to kill me yet. But, yeah. Anyways, let's get started with the diesels. Here's my Oriental Limited BP20s. I have an AB unit set here. I was thinking about maybe getting another A unit, but then I was like, I don't really need it. It would be cool to get a single stripe one just for like a commuter service, but it's fine the way it is. I plan on working on these at some point. I promise. I'd love to do these. I want to get 2 speakers, and I like to do TCS WOW diesel. And I would like to deck these things with lights. This would be really cool to do lights for. The B unit, unfortunately, will probably only just have ground lights, maybe, and that's just pretty much it. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any like fiberglass or anything to make the windows yet, so that's like the only thing that's holding me back from working on these right now is getting something to put in the windows. So that's the only thing that's really holding me back right now. And then I'll probably do the TCS WOW install for these, and then hopefully get these things running. I finally got couplers on the front of the locomotive. A unit's like the hardest thing to get couplers on right now, but I got them Kadee coupler boxes, and I was able to find screws that would be able to screw the boxes on, so that's great. So they will be able to go into service at some point. I want to get these guys in service because I'd like to have them do a video of them pulling the Broadway Limited. Because there's a limited amount of videos of these units out there, and I like to show them more. I think they're really nice models, and they're pretty much the best BP20s in HO you can get out there. I got them for a fair deal. I got these for around $670 as the pair. They're both powered, which is great. $670 is not too bad for these. At the time, they were just, it was over a year ago. About a year ago, yeah. And I don't know. I guess they're not very high in demand, the BP20s. So I was like, okay, well, I won these in a bid, and they came from Spain, and there you go. They're barely used, barely ran at all. So, and it's kind of missing one of the windshield wipers, but that's okay. I'll probably find a windshield wiper you can get for your models and probably put it on there, maybe paint it. Who knows? I'll figure it out when I get to the point. So yeah, look out for these in the future. These will be fun. They're obviously brass. I heard these are not that really hard to work on, so I'm probably going to do the B unit first just to test it, and then I'll do how I do it for like the A unit when I do a video. These are getting pushed back on my list to do, unfortunately, so yeah, just be patient if you want to see BP20s done. Next up is some of my favorite diesels. I've given these a lot of praise, and that is the Paragon 1 E7s. I got an ABA set of these beautiful Tuscan Red E units. I want to get an ABA set of the Brunswick Green E units, and unfortunately, they're a little bit more expensive than the Tuscan Red ones. I don't know why. Probably because they're harder to find. I want to get more E units. I like E units. It's just strange. I'm a Baldwin guy, but I like EMD units, guys. I like the E7s and I like the E6s. I think they're really neat and they're really cool. And they're really reliable. These are really nice running locomotives. These ran at the South Florida Fair. You might find them in one of my live stream videos running around. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest camera quality. When it was live, it was fairly decent camera quality, but then after that, it's just I don't know what happened. At some point, guys, I will get a better camera. And I had done a running session at a former club member's place on his Penn Central Railroad, and it was fun to run the E units there too. So yeah, those will be. I love these. I'd like to get more. Up next, we have the Paragon 2 ABA or AA set of centipedes. I plan on doing a TCS WOW video of these at some point. They are on the list. It's just sometimes when you find stuff and you're like, well, this is next on the list with TCS WoW when needed. And some people are like, why are you nuts with TCS WoW? I just find them to be the best in my opinion. I find them to be very reliable decoders. I haven't had an issue from a manufactured decoder that's mainly the decoder's fault. Most of the errors I've had with TCS WoW of them failing is my fault when I make mistakes. With wiring and pinched wires causing shorts and Paragon 3 locomotives. I've only had 2 locomotives I believe fail, and that was the 2 Paragon 3 T1 and the Streamline K4. And that's because they still had the original fucking motor in them. They both just, the motors. If you get those, if you're going to get Paragon 3 T1 or Streamline K4 by Broadway, replace the decoder motor right away. It's only like $30 from Broadway. Just do it. Save yourself the hassle and do it, guys. But yeah, these are nice. I plan on doing it. A TCS WoW swap at some point for these because I've already done them all. I already done centipedes already, and we'll get to them in a bit. Next up, we have. Well, these are funky looking. These are Alco. These are Alcos. We got an ABBA of Alco DL. I think they're 202s. Most people would know them as the Black Marias, and these were pretty much the predecessor to, as you can see to the left, the FA2s. These are obviously unpainted. And the chassis that they're on are Bachmann FA2 chassis, because there you go, that's how you know they're related. I plan on these are going to be, this is a in the pipeline, this is down the line kind of project. They will be painted Brunswick green. I will probably be doing them without the stripe. Stripes are kind of difficult. I know some people are like, you're a baby. Look, I want things to be simple. So they'll be in the more modernized Pennsylvania scheme, like in the 1950s, like the 60s kind of scheme with the SD45s, SD35s, and other locomotives. So they'll just have the keystone and their number board or numbers on the cab, and some other smaller details for like fuel tanks and caps and like different other color things for different reasons. So yeah, these are technically a work in progress. I got to get windows for them and black them out because there's no cab in there, so there's no reason. But they're cool. I think they're kind of uniquely looking. I like how they look. They look like DL109s, but shorter. So yeah, I like them. Really neat. Next, I have Proto 2K, all-powered Alco FA2s. These things are strong. Proto 2K diesels. I know some people have problems with some of them. They're actually not bad. Walthers makes replacement axle gears with the wheel sets for the locomotives. So I'll have to, and these were already done. When I bought these, somebody was selling them in like an ABBA set, and all gears were replaced and everything. They were lubed up, and I was like, man, they were for fair value. I'm like, well, I'm getting these, and I did a TCS WoW video on these. I believe I did the B units, and I didn't do the A units because it's just a headlight. So, yeah, I really like these. I'd like to do a better speaker enclosure for these because they kind of just they don't really sound that loud, unfortunately. They all have ground lights on them, which is really cool. They have ground lights for the stairs, so it's really, really cool. I really like these. They pull really well. These can pull anything. They can probably pull any train you want. They're all TCS WoW diesels, and they all have the same sounds. Really, really nice. They sound glorious together. To have a dummy B unit, it's fine, but when you have powered sound units just all going together, it sounds like a real consist, guys. I don't know what to say. I can't give it enough praise. These are really nice. I recommend getting these. They're really nice models to run. They're really strong. They pull well, and they're fairly reliable since once you do the axle gear replacement, you shouldn't really have any issues for a very long time. I have more Proto 2000 stuff. I do have more Proto 2000 diesels that I have, and I can't wait to work on those at some point. They're E-units, just a hint. I think a lot of people know that by now if they've stuck around long enough. I've done an unboxing video, so yeah, stick around if you want to see more Proto 2000 stuff. These were my first successes, and I would love to do more Proto 2K, to be honest with you. Next up is Truline Train C-Liners. I have an ABBA set of these. One of the A units has a train phone, the other one doesn't. The green on this is actually more forest green rather than Brunswick green, but it's not a huge issue in my opinion. They still look really, really handsome. And I gotta work on these. I do have the 21-pin board with the TCS WOW. However, I think I'm going to put the TCS WOW boards, the 21-pin boards, in one of my in two of my scale trains Gevos. One's in the CSX, and the other one we'll see later on. And I'm going to definitely work on these from the ground up with how I usually do with diesels, doing the kits and hardwiring, you know, because I don't have a reason to do anything else. They don't have cab interiors, unfortunately, but that's okay. It's not a huge big deal. They still look fairly detailed. And I hear that, oh man, I know that Atlas has the tooling for these from Truline, and Proto 1000 had these as well. I believe the tooling of the Proto 1K went to Truline. So now Atlas has them. When Atlas is going to make them, I don't know, but I hope they do because I like the C-Liners. They're really nice. I'm glad I got an ABBA set. And yeah, really cool. Next we have is my Broadway Limited Paragon 3. Recently done with TCS WOW, but they need motor replacements. Again, everybody. They were starting to run warm. They started smelling something, and it was not good. The decoders haven't fried, though, which is good. However, these motors from Paragon 3, anything that's newer than the L1, or I guess the J1, anything that's not the J1 or the L1, check the motor, because they seem to be the same thing and they suck. And they pull a lot of amps, and they will kill any other decoder that's not a Paragon 3 decoder or a Paragon 4. So, replace the motors immediately. Contact Broadway. They're probably going to be at 30. It's going to be $60 probably at least for me to replace both A units motors. And it's not going to be a huge pain. I'll figure it out. And they should run a lot better. One of my A units has been used for for college. I used for a project that I was doing. And it's obviously not as great as the other ones, so replacing motors will be a great idea for these guys, and they should run a lot better afterwards, and they should be glorious, hopefully. Speaking of Baldwin Sharks, I got an all-powered ABBA of RF-16s with a single stripe. These are the 5 stripes. You can see these are the 5 stripes. They're coming next year. All Pennsylvania as well. Yes, I'm getting another ABBA Baldwin Sharks. Again, I like the RF-16s. I love the Baldwin diesels. They're one of my favorite diesels. I love their unique sound of the prime movers. Those will have TCS WOW at some point as well. Who knows when those will be done, and who knows when I'm going to get those. So stay tuned. Next up, the F3s. Oh no, I'm sorry, not F3s, F7s. EMD F7s, ABBA. These are all 4 units are Blue Line. One of them is a dummy unit. I have 3 powered units, 2 powered A units and 1 powered B unit. These are strong pullers. Same thing with the E units from the Paragon 1 era and probably the Blue Line era. They are strong pullers, and I highly recommend them. I'm not sure. I heard negative things about the Paragon 1 F units, so go at your own risk, personally. I would stick with Blue Line or newer. I did not get any. I would like to get more F units at some point. And I haven't ran F units. Isn't that strange? F units are one of the most recognizable American locomotive out there. Well, locomotives, actually. And I don't have these with TCS WoW yet. They are next in line this coming month. I plan on getting 3 TCS WoW diesel decoders, and I'm going to work on these F units and finally have them running, and that will be so much fun. I like to get these guys running and working together and pulling very long freight trains. It'll be really great to have those guys running, and do a video of them running too. It's been a long time coming. I rarely run them, so hopefully once I do this project done, they'll be running a lot more often. And they probably will. It's probably because I like TCS WoW. Once everything has TCS WoW, I'll probably run everything. Next up is my Baldwin Paragon 4 Centipedes, both equipped, both AA unit being equipped with TCS WoW, and they are great. Really great locomotives. I love them. I didn't really have to modify them that much other than putting KD shelf couplers in between the locomotives so they could stay together when running at my club. They run actually fairly well at my club. They don't really derail, which is great. Which is crazy. With so many wheels, you would think it would derail. Nope, they do really well, which is strange. So, yeah, really great models. I plan on doing the other ones at some point, and I really like them. Really great models, and one of my most unique models in the collection, even though I have 2 pairs. Next up is my Walthers AB set. I like to get 1 more A unit. They're both with the Economy decoder. Yes, I will work on these at some point. They'll probably be after my F units. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll probably, after my F7s, I might work on these. I'd like to get another A unit so I can have an ABA of these Alco PAs. These are really good. These are the best ones you can get. I'm sorry. I know some people really like those Rapidos, but I've heard some negative things about them. So I'm going to stick with the Walthers because they're really good. These are really good. They're really strong pullers and they're really reliable pullers, and they're going to last a long time. So I plan on working on these at some point with TCS WoW decoders. So stay tuned. Next up, GG1s. Man, it's a shame they have 2 motors in these things, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to also do 2 decoders. I can probably fit 2 decoders in here. I'm not sure if I can fit 2 Keep Alives, but yeah, maybe 2 decoders could work, and make them silent and have TCS WoW. Unfortunately, the other TCS WoW is not going to have sound. It's just going to be 1 TCS WoW unit doing the sound, and both decoders are just going to do the motor. Just do the motors in these. I probably will have to replace these motors, though, because they're Paragon 3. Yep. More Paragon 3 motors to junk. So, yeah. They're nice, though. They run fairly well. They're pretty strong pullers, and one GG1 can pull a Walthers complete set of Broadway Limited cars. So, yeah. Really nice. I believe all generations use more than 1 motor, unfortunately, which is a shame, because I don't think 1 decoder can handle 2 motors. I'll have to open these up at some point and figure out what I'm going to have to do. It would be really expensive, but I'll test it with 1 decoder, see how it goes, and if it doesn't work, well, 2 decoders it will have to be. So yeah, I would like to get 2 more GG1s, by the way. Well, actually, no, 3 more, because I'd like to get the Congressional Silver one, so I can do a Congressional Limited train with the silver, aluminum-colored passenger cars. And I'd like to get the 5-stripe Tuscan Red and the single-stripe DGLE.
Next up, I have 2 Scale Trains SD45s. I'd like to get a third one for Fair Valley once I can find it, so I can have a 3-unit train, and these run really well, and they pull really, really well. Sad thing about Scale Trains is that parts details fall apart easily. Scale Trains, something has to do better with the glue or something, or cement it. Have the factory cement the parts together. Yeah, I like that. Next up is my Heritage Unit Pennsylvania ES44. This will get one of the C-Liners TCS WOW decoder, and I will have to put a speaker on. I'll have to figure out how to do the lighting. I know how to do ditch lights, so stay tuned for that, which will be fun. Next up, we have the Proto 2000 060. I forgot what B-class step switcher is. I'd like to get one more, at least one more switcher of that size. I'm hoping somebody, maybe Broadway at some point, will make B6s or A5 switchers at some point. Maybe the B6, more so than the A5. So, I don't know. Who knows? I'd like to get more steam switchers at some point because, I'd like to do a steam era stuff. We're just running steam engines running around, and mix with diesel, of course. All right. After that, we have one of my already TCS well-valued locomotives over here. I think I forgot it for like $100 or something. I forgot how much I got this thing for, but it was really good value. My Fairbanks Morris H1644. I'd like to get one more of these, or I don't know, maybe 2. I like them. They're good for switching, and they're also good for the after the transition era of diesel locomotives, road switchers. I like them. I really like them. Really nice, really cool diesel. I can't wait for TCS to make Fairbanks Morris prime movers. That'll be really exciting because then I can do my Fairbanks Morris C-Liners and all my Fairbanks Morris locomotives in the future. I like to get some train masters. I want some train masters at some point. Up next, we have my Atlas SD. Well, actually, that was also an Atlas, by the way. This is an Atlas SD 35. I want to get one more of these. These are kind of interesting. I want one more. I think they're cool. Again, this is more of like the SD45 era, and it's going to be more probably a switcher later on. When we get to the modern era of the Pennsylvania Atlantic Railroad. So this is going to be during the merger era where Pennsylvania merges the Atlantic Railroad on this railroad. So yeah, another diesel. I know some people are like, why are you getting some modern diesels? Look, I like to have a mix of stuff, actually. But mainly steam and the steam diesel transition era kind of stuff. But yeah, I like them. And up next, this GP9. It's a Walthers. It's got the ESU low sound on it. I dig it. It's cool. Runs nice. Pulls nice, actually. Probably when that factory thing burns out at some point, the decoder, I'll probably put TCS WOW in it. Because why not, right? I love it anyways. Up next is another Atlas model. I'm getting into Atlas, guys. I really like these Atlas diesels because they are tanks and they can pull anything. I got a C425 Alco. I want to get one more of these at least. This is another great diesel I can use as a switcher, or I can use it in freight service. Doesn't matter. Really nice locomotive. I'd like to get TCS WOW for it at some point. TCS WOW kit that can fit on here and then just use it, Really nice, neat diesel. Next up is a Jetco Swedish high-speed train. It's the X2000. And I did some modifications where I put keystones on here. So this is after Amtrak did not really want to use the X2000, they had the test train. The Pennsylvania bought it. The Pennsylvania Atlantic Railroad bought it and used it as their business train on the Northeast Corridor.
and other routes around the railroad. So I'll have to figure out the stickers on the side. I'm not really sticking it well, so I'm probably going to come up with something and maybe like a flat surface that's in the same shape of the keystone as much as possible, and then just cement it to the side of like a really thin like sheet of like styrene. Cement it to the side and then put the sticker on. But overall, the rest of the stickers look good, and then I have like it's a 5-unit set. I like to get one more like passenger coach, but they don't have any available. So, or 2, I'd like to make it a 7-unit set because that's a complete set, but 5 cars are fine. It's really neat. It's a really cool set. You've probably seen it in earlier videos. And last but not least is my Baldwin S12 switcher. I'd like to get 1 or 2 more of these things. I like the S12 switcher, and I like that train phone. There's a couple more diesels I'd like to get. There's a number more. There's always a number more. But, yeah, I really like this little switcher. It's one of my first easy swap-in, plug-and-play kind of TCS WOW decoder locomotives. And, yeah, I like it. It's a really lovely switcher. Does a really good job doing what it's supposed to do. Love to get more of them. And I like to get more different types of switchers as well. So, yeah. Anywho, that's pretty much all that I have. What's really cool is I got an ABBA of the big 4 companies at the time: Alco, Fairbanks, Baldwin, and EMD. Really, really cool. And I'd like to do the same thing with passenger locomotives. I already got 3, and I like to get is the... I'm not sure if I would like to get the Proto 1000 Fairbanks Morris Erie-Builts. I just have to figure out. I'd like to get one and get like spare axle wheel gears from Walthers and see if they fit on that model. And if they do, I'll probably get like another B and an A and put TCS WOW in those once Fairbanks Morris primers come. And there you go. I've gotten the big 4 diesel companies for passenger service. Well, on the Pennsylvania, they pretty much use it for both, and then mainly for freight because problems. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. We've done it. We pretty much did it. This is the 2023. As you can see, the Q1's not here anymore from NJCB. I sold it off because it was a problem, and I was not looking forward with it, unfortunately. And then I was sold to somebody else from the person who I sold it to. So yeah, it is what it is. If Broadway decides to make the Q1, which they said they're looking at it, so I hope they do because I would buy 3. You might be wondering, why are you going to buy 3 6130s? Well, I can tell you this. One of them is going to be 6130 streamlined. The other 2 might be streamlined, but they're going to be painted but undecorated, so I can make them any other number I want. So they will be the three Q1s running around. Or I could get one as streamlined and it's 6130, and the other 2 are the production run ones, which are the modified ones. And I can get 2 unstreamlined ones, and they can be painted but undecorated. So, or unlettered, I'm sorry, unlettered, painted unlettered versions, because I know that they've done that with the Q2s, this Paragon 4 one, and the Paragon 2. But if they do it for the Q1s, I will look forward to it. I don't know if they're going to do it for stealth. I hope they do unlettered for stealth if they do Q1s, because I'll buy them, because I don't want 6130. I want to make my own numbers, so yeah. And then the S1, I heard Broadway's having a tough time with something, so they're working on it pretty much. But I mean, the minimum curve radius is probably going to be 30 on the main line everywhere. Everywhere it's going to be minimum radius of 30 inches. So I want to get 1. I only really want 1. I don't really need multiple S1s, honestly. And I would like to get a Tuscan red one, similar to the Fleet of Modernism one that Lionel did with their Legacy line. So, yeah, that's it. Everyone. Other than that, those are some of the engines I wish I can get. Hopefully, that Broadway makes. I hope Broadway does more Penske steam. I'd like to see an N1. Do some 210-2s maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Broadway's constantly doing stuff, and I like some G5s, maybe 2 G5s. One E6 is fine, and then 2 G5s. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anywho, guys, this is Penske Joe signing out again. I hope you guys enjoyed this fleet update. I don't know, it looks bigger. It looks somewhat bigger. Some stuff is gone. Some stuff's still here. I forgot to talk about the Alco BP20s, but I don't really want to talk about them. It was a bad experience. But yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video down the line. Bye now.
By the shore, hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Now here's to Daddy Claxton, may his name forever stand, and may he be remembered in the courts throughout the land. When his earthly race is over, let the curtains round him fall. We'll carry him home to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as she glides along the woodland to the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.